guy's busy and he's wearing a really nice suit, which he always does. So we got to make sure that we're ready for him. So,
Look at
so
that.
look at this, just like that, he popped in.
Look at
Hi,
that.
Derek.
Hey, fellas, how you doing? Good to talk to you.
Well, good to have you.
Well,
Thanks for being here,
mm,
Derek Stevens, Circa Sports. Your first appearance on BVB. Thank you for
thank
the
you, sir.
time. We appreciate it. How psyched are you for what's about to happen here in March for March Madness at Circa?
Oh, it's terrific. I mean, in Vegas, all these tournaments they start kicking in this weekend. This is really going to kick off the month of March, in a pretty special way here with all the tournaments start kicking in. We got NASCAR started showing up
That's
here
right.
yesterday. I think we're actually going to have a vehicle up at Stadium Swim that they want to tool around in up there. So that's going to be a little fun figuring that out. We
Oh,
got John Jones fight coming into town. We got big league weekend with the A's and Reds playing in Vegas, and then
oh, yeah.
man, basketball all over the place. So this March is going to be an epic March. So we're all pretty stoked.
So every March now for a number of years, you do this thing where you go bet all of the opening round games. Derek, you can say whatever you'd like on this show. We have an edit button that can keep all the swear words out later, but we can swear, we can say all that stuff. We made that perfectly clear the other night. Are you going to fucking do that again where you're going to bet every game in the first round? Are you seriously going to do that?
Well, I did it a couple years. So the first year, I was talking with Brett Musburger and he said, what can we do? I go, well, I don't know. I'll give it a shot. He said, would you bet 1,000 on every game right when the line comes out? Like, would you make a play within like 10 seconds? I'm like, yeah, okay. I said, I'll do it for 10,000 a game. And then we did that. And, that didn't quite work out the way I wanted to. What we did the following year was we worked with a couple of books. We took 3 books in Vegas. South Point was one, Westgate was one, and I think Caesars was a third.
Yeah.
And I said, yeah, okay, we'll do the same thing, but I want to have a couple guys behind me that have my apps open, and I need 30 seconds, and that kind of helped out a little bit. So we bet into the opening number at between the properties. We had enough time to shop for a number, so
Right.
that had a little bit of a different outcome. I think we ended up, like 5-6 games above 500 for that year, so that wasn't bad. So that was all right. That was a lot of fun.
10 dimes a pop. I mean, like, when a guy says, "Will you bet me the opening number?" You guys do that at Circa. I mean, like, your opening number, literally, like for college football, is the opening number across the world. How important is that opening number? You've done it betting 10 dimes a pop on the college basketball, which you're crazy, but you did it. And now you actually got a book that's taking opening action numbers every single week on college football. How is that by running the book and seeing that, how has that changed your perception of that whole thing?
I kind of like it. I think like the thing that Chris Bennett, Matt Metcalf, Jeff Benson, myself, a lot of things we talk about is that what's the worst thing that can happen? We take a bet at a bad number. I mean, that's the worst thing that can happen.
Thank you.
Let's accelerate price discovery here. Let's get to the number and let's have a little basis. Let's have a little basis in a matchup here. I mean, there's a little bit of a race for us. Let's see how long is it going to take us to get 100,000 action in a game. And once we get there, you feel a little more comfortable. And how much longer is it going to take us to get to 200 grand in a game?
Yes.
So let's just accelerate the price discovery. And it's not as if we have these aspirations that we're going to have a great hold percentage. I mean, frankly, on the openers, we have a negative hold percentage. I would think here. And really for us, it's to get to that point where you feel as a book you got a better number. That's our model. It doesn't mean our model's right. It doesn't mean somebody else's model is wrong. I mean, we're just a little bit different. We don't need 50,000 or 100,000 customers. Betting $10 or $20 or $100 into something and really pushing parlays on people Yeah, we love it when people bet parlays, but that's not really the model that we're looking for. We're looking for,
Mm.
somebody who's willing to put some of their hard-earned work and sweat equity combined with their cash into a number. We feel that we can develop a strong number more quickly.
Love it.
Derek, when you guys were getting ready to open Circa and look at the philosophy, when did that become the prevailing thought? Because I think a lot of people who have come into the space have watched what you guys have done from you at the top all the way down. It's pretty much uniform. You guys have this opinion that you want to be taking bets. You're here to take bets, and you're not worried about your hold percentage. You're not worried about the numbers, but you guys really want to take action. How was that like a first day type of conversation? Like, guys, we're gonna open a book and we're gonna take bets.
Yeah, I mean, that was always the thought process. I mean, we opened Circus Sports in June of 2019. We opened it with a physical book inside, my oldest property, which is the Golden Gate. Shortly after that, over at the D Las Vegas, and the reason why we opened in at those locations, we knew it was going to be more than a year ahead of when we would open up our flagship, our sports book at Circa Las Vegas. So I wanted to make sure that our guys had basically a full lap in, effectively all sports, all seasons in before we opened our book here. COVID threw a little bit of a wrench into some of the
Mm.
schedules in early 2020, but effectively that's what we wanted to do. We wanted to get give our team the ability to book all the different sports, with this philosophy to develop the team in the risk room, our traders, develop our ticket writers and front of line staff. And that was always a thought process kind of going into things is we wanted to take that approach. Because we opened in Nevada, and we're very Nevada focused, very Vegas focused. So really what that means is we never had this thought process in the back of our mind that, hey, let's use sports in every jurisdiction we could get into as the gateway method to get people
Mhm.
onto our iCasino. That
Huh.
that's a pretty strong business model. I'm not saying it's wrong either. I'm just saying, if you've got a book in Jersey or in Michigan, a lot of what's going to get you going is how you market to your private equity guys, your lenders, and you explain, my whole percentage is going to be 15% because I'm going to get people in through sports, and then I'm going to segue them over to my iCasino, or
Mm.
I'm going to do big iCasino bonuses, things like that. That was never really our business model. That never came into a discussion I ever had with Matt Metcalf or Mike
Right.
Paul or Ryan Rubin or anybody. I would say maybe in some ways we were maybe more orientated around being an old school book. I mean, we all bet, we all went to windows. We're all old
Right.
enough that we know what it's like to go to a window. We believe that there's enough money out there that politicians are going to start really focusing in on um, really focusing on legal sports books.
Yes.
So we thought, well, let's go down this path, and we never really had a model that was orientated around hit this quick pick for a 5 team parlay and we're going to hold 20%,
Right.
or hey, come on in, we're going to give you a bonus
Yeah. No.
if LeBron James scores more than 1 point today, then you're going to double your wager. Now you
Right.
can't get the money until you play it through your our
5 times,
Five
roulette
times, six
or our
10
times.
times.
game. So that was just not us, and
Right.
again, I'm not knocking. I'm not somebody knocks another guy's business model. It's just our model is more about sports, a little bit more old school, and that's kind of what we always thought we were going to do, and that's kind of what we're doing.
Um, so you're Vegas centric, and so many things happen here, and so many people come and experience Circa. They walk in. Every person that watches the show and wants to come to town wants to come to Circa. I meet people down there all the time with the big wall, the video wall, stadium swim, all the different things. The Legacy Club is amazing. We've been
Mm.
up there a couple times. Um, are you prepared for what's coming with this F1, Derek? Like I don't know what to expect, and I've lived here 20 years. This sounds like it's going to be crazy.
Yeah, it should be great. I mean, I've had the ability to be on, Vegas's Super Bowl host committee, and been involved in a few of the F1 discussions with LVCVA, and just for perspective, for some of your listeners here,
Right.
the 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 investment that Las Vegas is making in F1, it's bigger than Super Bowl. It's
Wow.
substantially bigger than Super Bowl from
Wow.
a state and a city and a convention visitors authority perspective. And then you double it up is the investment that F1 is making. The one thing about F1 that maybe a lot of people don't know is, if you look back, maybe a year ago, there's a story about all the land that they bought, kind of behind the MGM and
Yeah.
where the Ferris wheel,
Yep.
and the Caesars convention.
Koval Lane. Yeah. For
Yeah.
those people who know Vegas.
So that piece of property, it's massive. It's just south of the Tuscany. And
Mhm.
what F1's doing, I mean, they're building a massive structure, and it's under construction now. Now you can actually see the form of what they're doing.
Right.
But what it is it's all the paddocks. It's the start finish line. It's these big bleacher areas.
Yeah.
They're going to control a lot of the ticket inventory and the high end hospitality. And what F1's really doing, they're really turning the Las Vegas race into what's going to be the premier race from their perspective, where they could control a lot of the shots, a lot of the revenue. When you think about, like,
Wow.
some of the races, some of the famous races, let's just say Monte Carlo. Monte Carlo is famous because it's famous and because it's been around a long time. But from an economic perspective for F1, it's not optimal because of all the buildings, housing, and apartments there. They don't control a lot of the inventory. So Vegas is going to
Oh.
be basically the model for F1 going forward. And I'm telling you, this stadium and this hairpin turn that they're building up on this huge 20-foot back angle, it's going to change things. So we're pretty excited about it. This is going to be at minimum it's a 10-year deal, but I think this is going to be more like a 30-year deal
Wow.
by the time we get done with it.
Wow.
Oh my goodness. So Dave and I, and people in our audience have been a part of the Circa Survivor and Circa Million for every year it's been in existence.
Got all the hats.
All the hats over there, and they're all very expensive hats that
Mhm.
sit on my thing. Oh, that's a pretty expensive hat.
Yeah.
What is the future? What is the next iteration? Are you guys going to continue to raise the stakes here every year you've jacked it up? What is Survivor going to look like going forward? What will Circa Million look like going forward?
You don't have to divulge all the secrets, Derek, but like I know Palm's going to tell you don't raise the guarantee, and I know that Benson's going to be like, seriously, you're going to make me sweat for 4 months because you're going to raise the guarantee. Are you going to raise the guarantee?
Yeah, we're a little early to talk about it, but I'll tell you, we always say that, right after Super Bowl we get together, and we've had one meeting so far, and you know, um, you got the right characters in here. We're starting to talk through it a little bit, and trying to game plan out calendar. Obviously, we want to keep growing, and we love this. Obviously, I'm biased. I mean, I think Circa Millions this year was spectacular the way it played out in Circa Survivor.
Wow. Was amazing.
I think the fact that was the largest football contest in history, kind of that statement kind of stands alone. So we want to continue to get better. So we've got a few ideas. I got a couple tricks up my sleeve that we
Ooh.
might be rolling out here. But I would tell you a couple things that might be something of interest for people to know that have participated in this and love it, is that we really can't make the final determination too early, because a lot of what develops is schedule dependent. We knew
Yep.
after year one, when we had 35 contestants go undefeated and go 19-0, I thought, we know we're going to grow this. I don't really want to have something where we could have 200, 300 people go undefeated, and you
Right.
feel like you have to go undefeated to win it. I think some year you're going to have, someone's going to win on week 16 or 17 or
Wow.
something
Yeah.
like that. It almost happened this year where
Yeah.
we had one individual with a a scoop of the pool, and that individual ended up getting nothing. But I think we really got to talk through when schedule comes out. When we added the 20th game, which was, the holiday game at Christmas,
Yeah.
um, you gotta really gotta think about how is that gonna play in. And when we look to the 2023 football season, one of the key elements is understanding how the schedule is gonna get flexed. So, and how does that work in
Right.
with our software, things like that.
You
I
threw
love.
everybody for a loop with that little twist with the holiday thing, but that was actually a unique thing and a fun thing for you guys.
Yeah, we thought it was great. It made people go added another game to the mix,
Right.
which I think
Mm.
we needed. What I love is I love sitting at the end of Mega Bar or a long bar at the D and people coming up to me saying, "Hey, I participated. Hey, I got an idea. What do you think about this?" I love hearing a lot of these ideas, like sitting
Do
around
you
there.
really though, Derek? Do you, I mean,
No, I
because a
really
lot of
do.
people come up to you and give you their shit right at the counter. We were sitting there and you had to throw that guy a couple beers and say, "Please." I mean, like, you hear all the shit too, don't you? I mean, seriously.
Well, yeah, I mean, not all ideas are great. I mean, of course, I can tell you that. But but I would tell you there are a lot of great ideas. And some of the ideas that have come up that we've not been able to implement that we really, really like. One of the things that a lot of people don't really understand is the limitations on the software.
Mm.
Right.
Software is probably the most difficult situation. What we built, the flexibility of changing something is not that easy.
Not easy at all.
It could be on a really good idea. I mean, it could be a year and a half, maybe 2 seasons before we could implement.
Right.
So there's a lot of costs that go into it, and then when it comes down to it, it's like, well, okay, this software update, it's going to cost $500,000 to write some new code, and we won't be able to implement it for 2 years. And
Ugh.
then we got to think about we don't take a rake. You know, I mean
That's
that's the other thing. If we took
right.
a 10% rake, we would probably have a little more capital to invest in the development. But I really thought that this was Mike Palm's idea. Let's take no rake and all that. I liked it after digesting it for a week or two because really what it does is the the, the the gaff here is pretty simple. Is we built a great sports orientated casino in Circa, Las Vegas, and in the state of Nevada, there's no remote registration, no remote funding. You got to show up to a property. So there's the gap is that we know for people to participate, they've got to show up on one of our properties. And then I'm comfortable saying that I know a percentage of the people that sign up are going to like our property
Right.
and they're maybe going to want to stay here some other time, or maybe they've got a business and they're going to want to buy 10 hotel room nights in October or in May or something like that. So that's the gaff is just we want to get people to our property and get people to experience it, experience a great dinner at Barry's or have cocktails at Legacy Club or check
8
out
East. Don't
and
forget about 8 East. 8 East is the
East.
best place in town. I love that place.
Yeah, so that's kind of that's really kind of the whole deal about it. So, with us not taking a rake, we really want people to come and experience our property. So, that's kind of a long-winded answer to how we got to make changes and how we develop
Right.
and tweak out millions and Circus Survivor.
Last one from me, sir. And then Matt will tie it up. So expansion plans. Benson does a great job on Twitter, and we had him on the show last week or the week before, and we talked a little bit about it. But he always says we don't have any expansion plans, but we can't wait to bring Circus Sports to you the way it should be, whatever that line is. Illinois is on the horizon. You're a Michigan guy. We got a ton of people that watch this show in the Midwest. They can't wait for Circa to get in these different markets. I'm not asking you to tell me what's next or specifically when, but when are people in Chicago going to be able to download and look at a Circa Sports app or even go into a Circa Sports book in Illinois?
Well, I can tell you from our perspective, hopefully it's as soon as possible. Unfortunately, I can't give you when. It's not like I'm holding it back. The way the Illinois regs work
Yeah.
is a casino has to open up. They get a probationary. There's a period of time where the casino has to open. And once that casino's open and they go through this regulatory period,
Right.
at that point in time, the non-restricted casino licensee has the ability to open up a sports book. Now we've
Huh.
we've negotiated a deal with Full House for the new casino in Waukegan. It opened 2 weeks ago, so that's
Oh,
a good step. We've fully gone through all of our licensing with the Illinois Gaming Commission, so they've got every tax return of mine from back when I was 18 years old.
it's not an easy process. Like people think you could just open up a sports book. Like there's a whole process that you have to go through, and it's would you use the word invasive or kind of like they check everything, don't they?
Yeah, yeah, they definitely know more about me than I know about myself. That's for sure. Uh, but yeah, we went through all of our physical interviews, all of our all the tax returns, all the details. We've had visitation here as well as I've been in Illinois a number of times now
Oh,
since this is taking place. So really for us, we're hopeful for some point in time this year, but it's the timing is not really within our hands.
right.
Once we can get there, I know our team, myself, we're gonna throw a couple big old parties in Illinois. That's for sure. So we're gonna have a lot of fun with it. As far as other jurisdictions go, yeah, I mean, we want to grow circus sports in other states. There's a handful of states that really kind of stand out to us. When you have a business model like we do with running a low hold model, some states may or may not be of interest to us because it may not match up with our business model. So
Right.
I'll give you a couple that don't. One very clearly would be the state of Tennessee.
Mm.
The state of Tennessee has a mandatory hold percentage
Right.
that's triple what our hold percentage is.
Right.
So we don't have a business model that could work in the state
No.
of Tennessee. So therefore, that's not a state that we would want to
Mm.
get into, in any way. New York's 51% tax rate
Ooh,
state.
ooh,
That's a little bit of a different deal,
Yeah.
and I don't think that would be something that would be applicable. But
no.
we certainly think that at some point in time down the road, Ohio, New Jersey, I
Mm.
obviously my original home state of Michigan be right up
The
there.
people want you up there, Big D. They want you in Michigan.
Well, we've been doing some advertising in Michigan now for about 10 years, because of the D Las Vegas and because of
Right.
Long Bar and all that. And we do a lot with that particular station, 97 won the ticket and that
Mm.
that crew. And yeah, we love to get to Michigan at some point in time. But right now we want to open up Illinois. We want to make sure our tech stack's in order, and then we'll be ready to take the next step.
Thank you for coming on. We'll end it with this. You mentioned the D. Bar Canada is a phenomenal place for hockey people to go watch the Stanley Cup playoffs when they start here in a couple of weeks. We always ask our guests because I love hearing what people think about this because I am the Bostonian, so obviously I'm a Bruins fan. Who is winning the Stanley Cup, in your opinion?
Ooh, very interesting. I had dinner with Coach Cassidy on Friday night, and
Oh, nice.
it's pretty interesting, like his perspective on being a former Bruins coach and really
Yep.
an incredible record as a Bruins coach, and then asking him and his wife how much they love Las Vegas and
Yeah.
how things happened. I guess I didn't realize, but when Coach was let go in Boston, it was 8 days later he got signed up here in Vegas, and
Right.
they're obviously pretty happy for a lot of reasons for being in Vegas. I do think
Don't say the Bruins, Derek. Don't say that.
what?
Don't say the Bruins. Don't.
Oh,
Please. Don't.
I'm
Please.
I'm I'm not going to say the Bruins.
Thank you.
Oh,
Oh,
But the one thing about hockey is when a team gets hot, you start thinking about them. I mean, look at what the Rangers have done.
yep.
So far this calendar year, since the beginning of January, in a team that I think nationally has been talked
Oh,
down upon.
oh,
And maybe I'm biased because I watch them a little bit more often, but but I like the way the Golden Knights may be coming together here.
Oh,
And
okay.
this goalie coach they got that's been working with
Sean. Yeah.
Thompson
Okay. Yeah.
and the rest of the goalies. It's a little bit different. Coach Cassidy was saying, it's a little bit different when you want to have to run a 3 goalie rotation, and how you set up your game plans and things like that. So I right now I kind of like the run that the Golden Knights are going to have in the West. And then I think I kind of like what Turk's got going with the Rangers. And
Ooh, okay.
on the east side, on the east, obviously the Bruins are in the mix. So I know you said I'm not allowed to bring it up.
Well, I mean, you can. He called the show Bostonian versus the book. They win every day. People come into your books. They come into books everywhere. Bet the Bruins money line, bet the Bruins puck line, and they just cash tickets every day. It's annoying as hell, but that's,
Derek, thank you so much for coming
thank
on.
you,
We
Sean.
really appreciate the time. We'll do it again soon, all right?
We'll
All
see you
right,
soon.
great. Thanks, guys. Great talking to you.
See
You
ya.
too. That is Derek Stevens of Circa
He's the
Sports and
best.
Circa Las Vegas,
He's the absolute
downtown.
best.
Great place to hang out,
Yeah.
to be a part of. How about that?